right. So Ray was actually trained by Rey Mysterio Sr., and it wasn't his dad, it was actually his uncle. And he made his debut in 1989 at the age of 14 in Mexico. Rob, he had some names he had to combat with as well, maybe on the Polish Prince level. So his former names. Now these were in Spanish, but his former names were the Green Lizard, and this one's probably the worst. Is Hummingbird. Those were his two names that he originally went with. And then finally, I guess they were like, let's call him Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah.
So he worked with AAA, like you said, for about 4 years before signing with ECW in 1995. And in September of 95, he actually made his ECW debut at Gangster's Paradise against Psychosis, which he won. He was only 20 at the time. But I watched the match this morning, and he already had the tools together where it was like good selling for a baby face, great presence, like that he was able to engage with the crowd a lot. And I obviously like the athleticism and the crazy stuff that him and Psychosis were able to do is that. And both were super over with the ECW. Like they did some extreme shit too, like throwing chairs and like getting all that involved too. So incorporation of like the Lucha Libre plus that stuff. Ray actually said that Conan put a word to Paul Heyman about signing him. Yeah, so you weren't there yet, but at that point too, do you remember if Sabu even talked to you about Ray beforehand or anything like that, or what you just remember is just first talking to him pretty much?
Yeah, I don't remember if Sabu mentioned him or not before I saw them. I know when I saw them, Sabu was like, these guys are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did see I saw Ray get inducted by Conan into the
WWE Hall of Fame.
Flower Alley Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got to know a lot of this history that you're talking about from Conan's speech and from Ray's follow-up speech as well. So I learned a lot about this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I just assumed that his dad was Rey Mysterio Sr., but I didn't know it was his uncle. So, I mean, I was like kind of learning as I was going along here too. But yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff. But he was only there for half a year. So like when you met him in January, he was done, I think, by March at that time coming up. And
wow.
And then he signed with WCW. And then obviously, like he, along with several other cruiserweights like Dean Malenko, Psychosis, Chris Jericho, Juventud, Eddie, they all established the cruiserweight division, but they were all in ECW beforehand too, which is pretty wild to think. So I'm curious. I know Conan went to WCW too. I'm curious if that was just a big reason for a lot of the Lucha Libre coming into WCW from ECW. Was it Conan's influence? Do you know anything about that? And how that all kind of came to be, where all the luchadors started in ECW, but then they went to WCW? Do you know anything, any details or anything regarding that?
I'd hate to put out any misinformation, and I'm not sure what the true story is about it. So I won't get too specific, but that's the way I recall it, was that nobody was using the little guys until ECW gave them a chance to be showcased, showed what the smaller guys can do, working their asses off, and then WCW signed them all up. And it does seem like Conan was part of that. Probably he would have been looking at it like helping his friends out to maybe a bigger company or whatever. But from ECW's standpoint, it was looking at it more like, just another one of our things getting ripped off.
Yeah, because it's like you guys set the bar for a lot of these, what a lot of mainstream wrestling would see later on, but like you guys started off, whereas like those kind of names and stuff. So no, it's I thought it was very interesting to kind of like look at that and be like, wow, it's like crazy that all these luchadors would start off in ECW and all of a sudden the cruiserweight division is a big thing in WCW too.
And not just little guys. I think Paul was the first one to bring the Mexicans in. I think that's the way it goes. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean all that stuff. It
Well,
is
no, I think even like did Eddie and Benoit, they were in ECW before WCW,
I
right?
believe. Oh yeah, yeah,
So they got a chance to really show. And Dean Malenko,
Dean
I think he was
Malenko.
part of them. I think because I know they were a throuple for a while, and wanted to do business all or none. When it came to, at least that's the legend, when it came to negotiating with WCW to stay or go, and ECW was on the table at that point. But I believe that them coming to ECW and being showcased and then going to WCW was just another one of those same thing,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
They were all kind of
People
tied.
people use ECW as a platform to get somewhere else, and you can't blame them. But I never wanted to leave because I loved the style, and I just wanted to be able to stay there.